What's going on YouTube, Geosn right here. In today's video we're discussing about why is iOS jailbreak dying. We're going to get into every point that is causing the demise of jailbreaking and what you can do about it. This video is brought to you by Reboot, a software that allows you to easily fix your device if it's stuck in a boot loop, and you can even downgrade from the latest iOS 18 beta. So definitely check the program out in the link below. A free trial is available for both Windows and macOS. So for those of you who are unaware, jailbreaking used to be very big. We used to have like Pengu jailbreak and like Taiji jailbreak and Black Rain and Red Snow, and we used to get a jailbreak almost immediately after a brand new version was released. That was a couple of years ago. Nowadays you have to wait literally months and sometimes even years for a jailbreak to come just to use the tweaks that you enjoy. Now why is that? Well, that's unfortunately part of a bigger problem. It's not that jailbreaking is dying because people lost interest in it, it's dying because it's actually quite hard to do nowadays. And there are many reasons for that. Currently there are two jailbreaks that are very recent and currently updated. The Pelrain jailbreak for older devices. This one supports A8 through A11 devices, so anything from iPhone 10 and older is supported. And this one even works on iOS 18. This is definitely a miracle. Apple still supports some of the devices that are vulnerable to the exploits in Pelrain. For the newer devices, for A8 through A16, maybe M1, M2 devices, you know, the new stuff, you have Dopamine. Dopamine is the latest jailbreak available at the moment, has full tweaks, supports everything. It's actually quite good and is a result of a big team working on this tool, and it does require a lot of testing and everything. You're going to see why in a second. Now, a lot of people say that, well, the jailbreak died because Cydia is dead. Well, Cydia used to be a package manager. We now have Cilio in its place. We have Zebra and many others. But yes, Cydia used to be the OG package manager created by Saurik. Now, Saurik lost interest in the jailbreak community a while ago, and they left a couple of years ago, and Cydia became essentially end of life. Now, that did not really mark the end of jailbreaking because tools like Dopamine and Pelrain are using two different package managers, Cilio and Zebra, which are much better, much more organized, they are faster, and they look even better compared to Cydia, which is dated quite a lot by now and completely broken. So that did not really cause the demise of jailbreaking. What did cause it is Apple. So as you can see here, we have a table, operating system integrity, which illustrates very well the situation with jailbreaking. And here we have the A10 devices and the A11, and these are essentially the iPhone 10, iPhone 8 in here, and for the A10 we have the iPhone 7, 7 Plus, maybe iPod Touch 7th generation. These are the devices that are easier to jailbreak, both for Dopamine, which uses different kind of exploits, and for Pelrain, which uses essentially a bootroom exploit, which is much easier to use. It's much easier to create a jailbreak based on that. But even for Pelrain, it's much easier to jailbreak the A10 devices. And here's the reason why. As you can see here, we only have kernel integrity protection, or KIP. Then if you go here on the A11, we do get an extra security feature called fast permission restrictions, which was made available in A11, but it's not available in A10, it's not available in A9, A8, and stuff like that. When people think about the days when jailbreaks used to be released quite a lot and fast, this is why, because a lot of security features we have nowadays did not exist back then. But as you go with A12, A13, A14, so essentially iPhone XS, XS Max, XR, iPhone 11, 12, stuff like that, you can see they do have quite a lot more security features, and this is where it starts to get complicated because the A12 devices, they're not supported by Pelrain. Pelrain stops at A11, that's because of the exploit it uses. Dopamine does support the A12 and newer devices, but Dopamine requires kernel exploits in order to work, which are different for each iOS version. And as you can imagine, it's much harder to find vulnerabilities and exploit them when you have this plethora of security systems interfering with your work. So you have in here system co-processor integrity protection, which is now available in A12 and newer. You have pointer authentication codes, or PAC, which was made for the first time available in A12, so on the iPhone XS, XS Max, stuff like that. And it was a pretty big deal at the time because it requires a pointer authentication codes bypass, or PAC bypass, in order to make a jailbreak now. For these devices, easy peasy, you don't need to do that. This one requires an extra exploit every time you want to create a jailbreak. Then you have in here page protection layer. This one wasn't available on A10 and A9 and stuff, but starting with A11, it was made available. Now for A11, it's not a big deal because Pelrain can essentially disable any security feature in the kernel thanks to the exploit it uses. But for Dopamine, this required a brand new exploit, a different technique, which of course took time to develop. Then you have in here the Secure Page Table Monitor, or SPTM. SPTM and TXM are new components, which means an extra security feature pretty hard to bypass. This one is actually the most feared component in the community right now because it's available on the newer devices like the iPhone 15 and stuff like that. It's actually darn hard to bypass. It requires a completely different exploit. So as you can see, even from this chart in here, you can understand there are multiple security features that are making iOS more and more secure, but Apple is learning from the jailbreak community. They learn from our exploits, they learn from our techniques, and they improve the system accordingly. That's not the only reason why jailbreaking is dying. The second biggest reason is the lack of developers, really. People just lost interest in developing tweaks. You can see here we have lots of tweaks. Like these tweaks in here are only part of the Havoc repo. You can see them everywhere for various things like customizing your screensaver, your home screen, your call status, your everything really, themes and icon packs and whatever. These are all developed by different people. You can see various authors in here, but at some point if you look on these, you're going to start realizing that they are kind of being developed by the same people over and over again. We don't have infinite number of developers, and many developers have indeed left, either because of the bullying in the community, because people are demanding a new jailbreak or new tweaks or updated tweaks, or because they just grew tired of it and they just left. And that issue was indeed compounded by the fact that Apple is making iOS much more secure, which requires a lot more work to make a jailbreak. So in the end, jailbreaks are not going to die. We still have dopamine jailbreak, which is actively being developed. We get updates regularly. We still get exploits being released that could be used for a jailbreak. The Pelrain team is updating their tool for the devices it supports, but it's updating their tool pretty often. So we still have people interested in developing. Some people leave and some people come to the community. And it's thanks to these kind of developers who are resilient and want to create the best jailbreak they can that the jailbreak community is still surviving. However, yes, it is harder than ever. So your patience is much more important than ever because things are now much more complicated. Thank you for watching. I am GeoSnow. I hope I made it clear why the jailbreaking community is in the state it is right now. Till the next time, peace out.